Hello everybody, I'm Paul.
And I'm Andrew.
And welcome to the Fan Voice. We are here for our 30th episode.
Oh shit, it's historic.
Yes! Oh my gosh, we're in the 3-0 and
the 30th anniversary.
Yes.
Well, not really.
Well,
it works.
It hasn't been 30 years, but it's been 30 episodes.
Yeah.
Each one has felt like a momentous occasion of
yes,
sorts.
it has.
And once again, we have an awesome topic tonight, and we're basically going to be reviewing the finale of the popular anime Parasyte, as well as discussing the series as a whole, what we like about it, what we think separates it from other animes, or like what we think other things should take from it, kind of stuff.
Okay.
I'm thinking
right.
of that.
Okay. All right.
What are you thinking, Andrew?
I mean, I'm thinking kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we can get to that.
Yeah.
Totally.
Whatever comes to mind.
Yes.
We're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But we are going to start with the finale discussion.
Yeah. I think we'll start off just talking about the last episode a little bit, and then we'll get into series discussion a little bit later.
Yeah, absolutely.
And final thoughts.
Yes. So just ahead time, spoiler warning. We will be getting into details of the show, but it'll be a hardcore discussion, so it'll be awesome.
Yes, it will. But yeah, there's major spoilers.
Yes,
obviously.
Yes. We're going to be talking about everything, no holds barred.
Yeah. Alright, so I guess let's talk about this last episode. I wasn't super surprised at all, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because I kind of called it. I think... Were we watching the last couple episodes together?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think at the last episode, he kills Gato, I think, for the final time. At least I personally think he kills him. You don't obviously see it.
I wasn't sure about that. I wasn't sure.
Well, that's a fair assessment, because you don't know.
Yeah,
really.
They left it really vague, and he was in such, like, confliction at the end, and, like, oh, did he actually, like, not kill him?
Yeah. But, you don't really know, but it starts off and you definitely know, like, 2 minutes in, that it's like, okay, that's not the direction this episode is
Yeah,
taking.
no.
This episode's direction was more of a wrap-up episode. Which, I mean, I wasn't really I wasn't surprised by it, but at the same time, I really thought it would have, like, once you planted the idea that Gato might be back, I was like, ooh. Maybe he'll come back and they'll have, like, a talk and not, like, a fight, and then Gato will walk off. That would be kind of cool.
That's what I was originally kind of thinking, where he would actually come back as a weakened state where he can't, like, fight anymore.
Right.
And it just shows him as a representation of going off, like, living as a human.
Yeah, living as a human. And this is not better than that, but as I'm thinking the other idea, I'm kind of like, I think this episode was okay then. Because I would have liked that, and I would have liked the wrap-up, but instead what we got was kind of a wrap-up on his story as what it means to be human. Sort of. Which was cool. And a very quick, very fast-paced, oh, now Mickey's gone. Thing.
Yeah.
So that's what bothered me a little. Actually, there were a couple things about this episode that really bothered me. But that's the first one, is I went... So we went through a whole melodramatic thing to make sure that he's not dead, but wait, now he's gone.
Yeah.
And
it's very, very convenient.
God, seriously. It's like 20 seconds, it's like a dream sequence. Dream sequence lasts like a couple minutes. And then it's like 20 seconds of him crying, like, no, you've left. And then we're done. We're out. That's it. That's the storyline.
Yeah.
And we're on to the next thing. And I was kind of like, okay, I don't...
Like, after all the trouble we went through, it's like you'd think they'd live together kind of thing.
Yeah, no, seriously. You would think that would be the next logical step. Like, it would be Satomi figuring it out, in my opinion. Like, that would... The logical thing, I think, is... for her to discover him, and then that be kind of also a wrap-up on what it means to be human. But instead he just disappears in a sequence that I don't particularly understand.
Yeah.
This all happens in a dream sequence. For those that haven't seen it, keep in mind this is spoilers, but whatever.
Yeah.
It happens in a dream sequence, and the dream sequences are pretty frequent in the show.
Right.
And it's kind of trying to show, I think, that Miggy is trying to infiltrate like his dreams.
Mm-hmm.
He's in his mind in some way.
Yeah, in a very like loose sense because he's just spread throughout his body.
Exactly. Yeah. So he's definitely in his mind, but he hasn't infiltrated his brain yet. And I think that was kind of their original point in showing that in some of the earlier dream sequences. And this one was like Miggy, I think, just found it too hard to say goodbye, which I thought was kind of at least I think that was part of it.
Yeah.
And the other part was he was like, it should be this way. It should be that you just have a normal hand. So maybe you'll wake up and you'll forget.
Yeah. Just like plot structure of it, again, it goes back to convenience, but one thing I can kind of pull back on is like I really appreciate one thing they've showed, especially in the later half of the show, but especially in this episode, how much Miggy has been affected by humans and his host kind of thing, to a point where he really does care for Shinichi a great deal, which it's interesting and something I've enjoyed seeing like through the show. It kind of reached the completion where he is true altruism, kind of altruism, yes.
No, and that's definitely true. It was just it was weird. It was like a dream sequence that I felt like was serving a different purpose in the earlier parts of the show. Kind of revealing a little bit more, and like there was that part where he's like, "Well, what do you think you look like?"
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
He obviously, they kind of foreshadowed, but he obviously looks like a beast.
Yeah, it kind
as the human,
and like Miggy looks different in it too.
Yeah, I mean he's taken a different form, which makes sense because he's changed a lot.
Right.
So now in that dream sequence, he's a different skeletal structure.
Right.
So I mean that makes sense because he's changed.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if there's any significance to the actual change in form. This one looked a lot softer, and it looked a lot more like his
regular form. Yeah.
And so to me, I was kind of like, okay, maybe that's the direction they're going. But the whole sequence seemed like it was trying to say something, like there was some sort of symbolism. Maybe there wasn't, and maybe it was just this was the way Miggy wanted to say goodbye. Yeah. And he's gonna be under the surface now for a while. But I kind of felt like I was missing something during that scene.
Right.
Like, I think I got the earlier dream sequences, but this one I was kind of like, I don't know what you're doing. Something. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm not missing anything. I don't know. Did you think there was something else, I guess?
I think it just all around in combination with what he was saying, like looking at like the remembrance of all the figures and transfer of soul and stuff like that, along with the park scene and just like even the monologue at the end, they're trying to like just shove so much like ideals and thoughts into you kind of thing of like where it stands with like just nature and where the parasites belong, where humans belong, what are they, what are the parasites kind of thing. It's like it's definitely a lot to absorb, and I think as a viewer, if you look at it the right way, it gives you an option to like either like pick what you find right or what path they're driving to you, but it can go in so many like multiple directions.
And I think that can be a good thing, but I honestly think that in this case, in this finale, I felt like it was, instead of feeling like it was open-ended, in theme at least, I felt like it was disjointed in theme. Like there wasn't a lot of consistency in that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what ended up bothering me about the last episode, is because the dream sequences, I mean, first of all, like you said, it's just kind of convenient.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, guys, I'm out.
Right.
See you later.
Right.
And then they talk a little bit. And I do like the part where he sees all of his loved ones and everything. And Miggy he's gotten to the point where he can try to understand that, but he still doesn't. Right. And maybe that's why he's leaving. That's the only thing I that's the only other thing I thought about that scene. Is I said maybe that's why he's leaving, is to just think about it more, to deliberate, and to change more. And like he said, I liked being in that kind of lucid dream state.
Yeah, when he was with Gateau,
right.
That's another thing I was thinking.
Right.
Was like he kind of prefers
There's so
that
much
sleep
information.
state.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean that was good, but at the end of the actual episode, it just felt kind of disjointed.
Mm-hmm.
That last dream sequence would have been a great ending. You know, like that would have been a great last scene.
Oh yeah,
and then
just
him seeing
it there,
right, and then maybe him seeing his dad and Satomi the next day, and then that monologue that he has at that
the middle part
right. could be the actual end.
Yeah,
but instead there's like the next part. If you're okay moving on to the next part,
yeah,
I don't know if you are. Okay, the next part is like I think it's 10 minutes. I think it's half the episode.
Yeah.
And it has to do with the serial killer, which I fucking called it.
Yeah, you did.
I'm kind of proud of it in some way. I was like, so it's either going to be a total wrap-up episode where nothing happens, or it's going to have to do with the serial killer.
Because he was like the most open part, like through the series kind of thing.
Yeah,
and
he just disappears.
Yeah, I totally forgot about it though, honestly. But you called it. Man.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just it was in my head already. But so the serial killer comes back. And he immediately, of course, because Shinichi's stupid, and runs away.
Oh my gosh.
Why would you... I'm going to disappear in this tiny little alley. Okay, I'm going to follow you.
Why would you leave that girl alone?
Why would you leave her alone? Why would you do that? No. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
So, I don't know... Call the cops. Tell him he's around the area. I don't know. Whatever.
What I was thinking is he should have just ignored him altogether and
should've.
just gone off on his business kind of thing.
But of course, then it's in the back of his mind that he might be stalking Satomi. But still, that's maybe.
Yeah.
But what bothers me about that is once again it's just super convenient, and Shinichi is smart. He's smart.
Right.
He's been shown to be smart.
Yeah.
Especially now living with Miggy, he understands that.
Right.
And then he runs up. Anyway, whatever. So the writers had to get Satomi in the serial killer's hands, basically, for this whole scene to happen. So however they did it, I'm just not going to dwell on it. I don't know. That just kind of bothers me, but whatever. We'll move on.
Yeah.
So then, of course, you know, the inevitable showdown happens. And they're on a roof, which seems to happen a lot in anime. Have you noticed that?
Oh, yeah.
Showdowns seem to happen on roofs. I don't know.
It's the most epic area.
It is the most epic area.
Hardcore series, you know. It's this city series, I guess.
Yeah. No,
it's got to end on the roof.
It's true. Yeah, and I mean, in true style, this one ends on the roof. And the serial killer just starts monologuing, basically, and wrapping up the series in a lot of ways.
About how, like, he's the true human kind of thing.
Okay, so this is... Yeah. No, are you gonna... Were you gonna keep going? Because I didn't want to interrupt.
Go ahead.
That's the other part of it that I didn't like. Is he starts monologuing, and he starts saying, like, I'm the true human. Humans just want bloodshed. And I was kind of like, well, I completely disagree with that.
Yeah.
Humans definitely have bloodshed to protect themselves. But I think just like many animals, they don't indiscriminately kill people.
No, absolutely not.
Because you're not protecting yourself when you do that. You're killing somebody for pleasure.
Exactly.
And I was like, what does this even have to do with the series, the rest of the series? Like, he's just like, I'm the real human, aren't I?
But
I can tell monsters and humans apart. And I'm like, well, I don't know where that's coming from, but...
Yeah.
No, you're not the real human?
No.
At all, in any way?
But right away, Satomi argues against that.
That's the part that I like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that is part of the reason why he has his monologue in the first place, so Satomi can kind of counteract that and could be a huge like overturn in thought process of the series, like beyond humans, beyond parasites. No, this guy right here is the true monster.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
And that's what I liked about it. And
yeah.
You're right, and I totally agree with you. Is
Mm-hmm.
I like, and also she has been kind of it's just kind of the quintessential
damsel in distress.
Damsel in distress.
But this episode finally gave her like some worthwhile material kind of thing.
Yeah, she shows that she's like, I've been through worse shit than this.
Yeah.
And you're just an asshole, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
But she does it in a way that, like you were kind of saying, it kind of wraps up the series really nicely.
Right.
Like, more than anyone else, you're the monster here.
Yeah.
And that was great. Yeah. That was really good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I liked her a lot in this last episode.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was pretty good in that little,
Yeah. That was
giving him the business.
She stood up to him, and she just like had the line of one of the most pivoting points of the entire like theory of like prey and monsters and stuff, and she helped Shinichi be his like emotional rock a little, I feel like, in those last few seconds.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, and that's what I liked about it, is because she kind of in kind of in not the same way that Mickey does it, but she calms him down.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah,
and I thought that was I agree, that was very cool.
Right.
So yeah, and then I guess just as a wrap up, he fucking murders the guy very easily.
Yeah.
But, I mean, is he
punches him in the face.
He's still kind of superhuman, though, right?
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
Because Miggy's still in him, and all the unconscious cells are all over him,
over his
and
body.
that's like the main part that made him,
right,
as a person, like super strong.
Yeah. Okay, so that's still there. Okay, so I did get that right. So
that's why he like punched his head off. Pretty much.
Yeah, he gave him a fucking backhand, and the guy just died.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Shinichi's a badass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But of course, serial killer throws her off the roof. And then we get kind of the ambiguous... well, first of all, it cuts to a pretty good scene with the two of them. And he's talking about, I met a passing organism. They ended up dying. Why does it make me so upset? Mm-hmm. And he's talking to Miggy about it.
Yeah.
Kind of in his dreams. Kind of in that same dream sort of state.
Right.
And Miggy says, basically, what does he say? How does he put it exactly? What's the phrase?
I can't like say it word for word, but it was like, you humans have the time to let your heart wonder, or let your hearts have the time to start caring. Right. And the way he says it, it's a passionate, like, positive jealousy almost. Yeah. Kind of thing, if that makes sense. So he's like, you creatures have this wondrous ability, so stop complaining. Yeah. Kind of thing. Yeah. Which was, oh my gosh, that coming from Migi, who is like all about like cold-heartedness.
And that was a great way. That was a great way to keep him in character, and yet have him say something like that.
Absolutely. Because the transition was there, but they kept it at small enough steps for it to be realistic. Right. Yeah. Like, yeah, it was a great last line from Migi. I absolutely loved it. No, definitely.
And I mean, I also really liked, Shinichi doesn't grab her apparently on the first try at least, and then Migi saves her. And, pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much.
So he's still there, pretty much there for him.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it wasn't terrible, but it felt weirdly paced. Mm-hmm. And I did not get why the serial killer was the last scene of the show. Because I felt like the wrap-up, the scenes before that was a better wrap-up, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. It should have almost been reversed.
That's how I feel.
Think? Yeah.
That's how I feel. Now, I think maybe in some ways, I don't know, maybe in some ways the first one has to come first. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Because he has to fight the serial killer without Miggy, I guess.
That's true. But I don't think it would be too hard to, like, even split the original dream sequence into two things, kind of thing. Or, like, just, like, even the last few lines being, like, a dream sequence or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
It just seemed weird. Mm-hmm. It really did. But as far as, like, being a wrap-up and, like, wrapping up the themes, it seemed like the themes in the rest of the show had gotten kind of disjointed and were kind of... I mean, there was definitely still the theme of what it means to be human.
Yeah.
But other than that, they were kind of jumbled a little bit. And this did a pretty good job of wrapping it all up.
Yeah.
Tying it over with a bow.
Absolutely. Despite, like, the, like, just the disjointedness of it all, its ending messages were really, really great, in my opinion. To the very end, where Shinichi is just like, we're all looking to grow closer to someone.
Yeah.
And from what everyone has experienced, you can see that as in humans as well as parasites.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, which was awesome.
Yeah. No, I thought it was a good last note.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I kind of wish that for a show that with this kind of pacing, that wasn't the last episode that they went for. Mm-hmm. That it really was like a final battle.
Yeah.
And then it was over because, like I said, it just seemed kind of disjointed. It seems kind of...
Right.
And honestly, the last arc... But we'll get to that later. Unless, are we finished with talking about the finale? Maybe we can...
Yeah, I think we can migrate over to
the
series as a whole.